everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark, and today I want to talk about how to get daily consistent sales. And I really want to talk about this time of year especially because a lot of resellers know the summer as the summer slowdown, but I just want to let you know that there are ways around the summer slowdown and there are ways that you can keep your sales daily and consistent, and that is what I'm going to talk about in this video. So if that is something that is interesting to you, definitely keep watching and make sure that you're subscribed because I do weekly videos here on this channel about all things reselling, all things Poshmark, and everything else in between. So if that is also something that is interesting to you, definitely make sure that you're subscribed down below. But let's get right into the video because I know you're all dying to find out what are the great ways to get those daily consistent sales, especially in the summertime. Okay, so the first one that I've talked about a lot of times on this channel, but I'm going to kind of change it a little bit, is it's so important to list daily. And not only is it important to list daily, but it's important to be listing good inventory. Because if you just list random things every single day that are not necessarily good or trendy items, just because you're listing every day doesn't mean you're going to actually sell items. So make sure that these items are things that people want. Make sure that these are items that people are going to be searching for. Use that trends guide. I've talked about the trends guide in many videos now that Poshmark provides us in the beginning of each month that you definitely want to be looking at to see what is trending for that month, because then you can buy those items when you're thrifting and then you can sell those and they will actually sell so much faster. So make sure that you're picking up good brands and make sure that you're listing every single day. I really recommend listing at least 5 items a day. I used to do 1 a day last year and I wasn't really making that many sales. I'm doing 5 a day this year and it's really helping me get more sales than I was last year. So at a bare minimum, I would say list 5 new items each day. But if you have more than that, you can do more than that. But I definitely recommend whatever amount you're going to be listing, make sure that you keep it consistent amongst every day because consistency is very important when it comes to Poshmark. So if you're going to list 10 items one day, then make sure that you're listing 10 items each day and make sure that it's consistent amongst each day, and that is going to help you have more success. And the next item that I always talk about and I always really recommend doing is relisting that stale inventory, because you'd be surprised how many pieces in your closet are actually what they consider stale. And if you've heard me talk in my prior videos about stale inventory before, you know it's not good. You know it's going to sell so much slower. So if you have all that stale inventory, it's not going to sell unless you relist it, or it's going to take a lot longer to sell. So what I really recommend doing is getting a VA to do this. It'll really help you determine how long an item has been sitting for, and it'll actually be easier and you won't have to kind of calculate and keep track. But I just tell my VA to relist every single day, and actually what I started doing, especially in June, is relisting like 10 items a day. I used to be doing 5, but I've kind of upped it because I think that's going to help, just get my closet in a refresh and get those items relisted. And I've already been seeing that those relisted items are selling so much quicker than the other items that have been sitting for a long time. So make sure that you're relisting daily. And again, at a bare minimum, I would do 5. If you have more, then do more. But it can never hurt to do this. And when you relist those items, use that time to refresh your listings. Maybe take a new cover photo. Maybe make sure that the photos themselves are actually good and there's no blurry photos or there's no like dark photos or questionable photos. And also make sure that the descriptions and the titles are good and descriptive and accurate. I've seen so many times where I've actually relisted an item and then I've looked at the pictures of it or I've looked at the title and the description and I thought, how did that even get to where it is now? Because there's a typo or there's a blurry picture or there's like a black picture of a black screen and there's nothing in it. So just make sure that your listings are good while you're relisting them, because that's going to give them the best chance at selling and that's going to give them the best search engine optimization, which is very important to do to make sure that your listings sell quicker. So make sure that you relist daily and make sure that you refresh those listings daily, and that's going to help bring in so many more sales. The next tip I have, especially in the summer months, is make sure that you're sharing your closet as frequently as you can. For me, I have over 600 items. I think I have close to 650 items, and so I find that I could share my closet basically once every hour. And I know some people have smaller closets, so you could probably share a closet more often than that. But for me, I find that if I share it once an hour, that basically gets me through the entire day and I'm not going to get put into share jail or anything. So I really recommend trying to share about once an hour if you can. If you have more listings than that, you might not be able to do that many. Poshmark does tend to, put you in share jail if you hit over 10,000 shares in a day. So that really adds up quickly if you have a large closet. But I really recommend doing the math, trying to figure out how many times you could share your closet a day and really get to that maximum, because I find that my listings sell so much quicker when I'm really sharing them all the time. And so I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that you're sharing your items daily. That is such a game changer, and it really goes so far to just get those items out there in front of more eyes. And if you really, if you find that you can't get as many shares in as you would like to do, maybe share your items on social media, maybe, send a link to people, friends, family, and make sure that you get that link out there, because that's also going to help you with more people seeing those items. The next tip I really recommend doing is sending out offers every single day. And the biggest thing with this is, if you have an item that's been sitting for a very long time and you're having a hard time selling it, just send out offers on it. Maybe send out a little bit more of a generous offer than you're used to sending out, and clear that item, because it's been sitting for a while. You're not going to be able to sell it like you thought you were going to be able to sell it a while back, and it will just actually help you to clear the item so you can make room for more important, better items. And I've really realized this over the last couple of weeks, where I had a lot of listings that I've had listed for 3-4 years at this point, and I'm honestly sick of seeing them and I'm ready to let go of them. But I did expect to sell a lot of them more for a higher amount than I, think I'm going to be able to now, because I thought the value of them, a while ago was higher. So I think as long as I'm still making a profit on them, if they've been sitting for 3-4 years, I'm really ready to just accept anything that I can make a profit on. And so I've actually been doing some silent lives in the last couple of weeks, and I've been really just discounting those old stale items and really just trying to get rid of them. And I've actually sold a bunch of them that have been sitting for so long, and I'll tell you, it feels really good to get rid of them, and it's really helping me clear through some of that inventory, and it's helping me keep consistent sales, because once I make a couple sales, the algorithm's working in my favor. So I start getting more offers and I start making more sales. So don't be afraid to sell an item a little bit lower than you would have maybe thought you were going to be able to. I know sometimes we have like a number in our head of what we think we're going to be able to sell an item for, but if an item has been sitting for 3 to 4 years, it doesn't have that same value that it did when you first got it. So keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to sell things a little bit cheaper than you would have liked. Just make sure that you're still making a profit and you'll be fine. And make sure that you send out those daily offers, because that is going to help you get consistent sales. I've mentioned this prior, but 2/3 of all sales on Poshmark come from offers. So it's so important to be sending out those offers daily, and that's going to help keep those sales coming in. And the final tip I have is to just make sure that you have good listings. I talked about this in the prior tip, but just make sure that every listing that you have is good. Make sure that, the cover photo looks good. Make sure that the rest of the photos look good. Make sure the title and the description are good. Make sure everything is accurate in the listing, because that really helps go a long way to sell your items quicker. And it really just helps with your SEO, which I mentioned prior as well. But it's just so important to do this. And if your items have typos and flaws and weird pictures in them, they're not going to show up in more searches. So it's really important to make sure that your titles are good, your descriptions are good, your pictures are good. So take a second to go through your listings, especially when it's a little bit slower. You have that time to spend to go through your listings. So make sure that you do that, and you will notice a big difference when you start going through and correcting those errors. Your listings will start selling so much quicker, and you're going to end up getting more sales. So in conclusion, these are my 5 tips that I have that I swear by and really recommend to get those consistent daily sales, especially in the summertime. I have noticed a little bit slower of a this month in June, but I'm still doing these things and they're still helping me get consistent sales. And so I really recommend taking the time to do these things every day. They are so important. They go such a long way and they make such a big difference. And it's so important to stay on top of things in the summer, because that is when it's most important, because it's known to be the summer slowdown, and you want to make sure that you stay ahead of these things. Now, I know it's really easy to get discouraged and it's really easy to want to quit and want to give up when items aren't selling, but the most important thing to do is just keep going and to not give up. If you just keep pushing and keep listing and keep relisting and keep sharing, the sales will come in. And they do come in batches, and it's so important to keep going, because once you start getting a couple sales, a lot more are going to come in. So they tend to come in batches. I've actually found that I had 2 days where I had nothing, and then I had 5 sales in one day. So it's so important to just keep doing it because the sales will come. And they come in batches, and so just keep going, keep moving forward, and you will get those consistent sales that you're looking for. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope that you could take some of these tips to work on this summer to help your closet have success over the next couple of months. If you want to see some features that you should be using on Poshmark, you can click right here. These are some features that are really helpful to know how to do, such as canceling an accidental purchase, retrieving an offer that you have already sent, and many more. And if you also want to see some hacks that I think you should definitely be using on Poshmark, you could click right here. But until next time, I will see you then.